I am not a smart man. And after reading all the things that I've been reading about the Eagles today, I am even dumber than I was this morning. That's right. It is getting harder and harder to calculate the calculations of the cornbread because I can't do math and I can't remember numbers. I'm getting really dumb. And I'm already dumb. But that's just the way it is.
Sneaky big news. The Commanders are hiring Cliff Kingsbury to be their offensive coordinator. Lest you not be aware, he spent last fall as the quarterback's coach and senior offensive assistant at USC. That means he was working directly with Caleb Williams, the projected #1 overall pick in this year's draft. And Adam Schefter is diving right into the fun. He tweeted, "Let the speculation begin." Kingsbury coached Caleb Williams last season. Williams was a standout quarterback at Gonzaga High School in Washington, D.C. The Commanders currently hold the #2 overall pick and are in striking distance of the #1 pick that belongs to Chicago. And Caleb Williams, maintaining plausible deniability, got in on it as well with his Instagram post, "My dog, congrats." So let's get Chris Canty into the conversation. We borrow him from Unsportsmanlike on ESPN Radio for a couple of minutes here this morning. So the conversation has turned to if there's two stories here, it feels like running on parallel tracks. Is Chicago willing to entertain the possibility of a trade, be it to Washington or anywhere else? And as Dominique brought up, does Caleb Williams have a real interest in going home or somewhere else? And if so, is he willing to utilize whatever leverage he may have to force something to happen? How do you see it?
Well, let's tackle the first one. Should Chicago entertain it? Will they entertain it? My point to that is they may not have a choice, because if Caleb Williams opens his mouth and says he doesn't want to play for the Chicago Bears, then all of a sudden they have to consider potentially making a deal with the Washington Commanders. Mike Tannenbaum says this all the time. Fear does the work of reason. Well, if you're the Chicago Bears and you're afraid that Caleb Williams could potentially sit out an entire calendar year after you take him #1, knowing that he doesn't want to be there, then you have to potentially be interested in a trade package that Washington would have to offer up. And just thinking about what Carl Williams said in that GQ article that came out in the fall, that's Caleb Williams' father, he said he talked to Lincoln Riley, and the reason why Kyler Murray struggled is because of the organization that he went to. He also mentioned Archie Manning in that article and talking about how that knocked the career out of him being with the New Orleans Saints. They all understand that the NFL, the way it's set up, is that the best players go to the worst teams, and that could undermine the career that Caleb could potentially have when he makes the jump to the NFL. And so in reading the tea leaves, it feels like a situation that the father and the son want to absolutely be comfortable with the situation that Caleb is stepping into in the NFL. And I don't know how you make him more comfortable than having the guy that was his offensive coordinator the year before at USC be his OC as his rookie year in Washington.
Playing in the city in which he grew up, whether we consider that to be, some players may not like that idea. Whatever. Either way, Neek, since you were the one who brought this up, let's just play the game where Caleb Williams is interested in finding his way somewhere else. Right. If you're the Bears, it seems to me, Dominique, you have an interest in finding that out as quickly as possible, because your leverage diminishes the moment the world knows that Caleb, you want teams to think it's your decision that you're trading the pick away, because if all of a sudden that asset becomes
a hot potato,
the whole world knows you have to trade it away. So this may be something that happens quicker rather than more quickly rather than more slowly. Neek, what do you think?
Yeah, that's a great point. But if you are looking for a good situation, it would seem that the Bears, of the teams that are at the top of the draft, are one of the better situations considering the draft capital that they have. They have a true #1 receiver.
They got the #1
the big question
and the #9 pick.
The coaching staff is going to continue to stay there, and how much faith you have in Eberflus and that offensive staff that he has assembled, that he's reassembling there now. So I think that's the big question if Caleb wants to move out. And I think
hello, good people. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, and we got Joe Bear sitting up there. And as always, I appreciate each and every one of you guys, as well as you ladies, for being here and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Man, it is kind of crazy because I'm getting worried. And before I get into why I'm being so worried, let me say hello to Gina Dallas Diva. What's up? What's up, Gina Dallas Diva? And then we got Rhonda Lovely Sparks, who definitely copy the recipe for my chili correctly. You got everything that's in there. And if you can find another meat that you like there, Rhonda, throw it on in there. If you like some venison, throw it in, because we like lots of meat and stuff on there. We've got Roland's Review. What's up, Roland? How are you doing? Great live stream yesterday. Very informative. That sucker blew up. And of course, we've got Help Me. Burning for Lola. Did I miss any of the lovely ladies in the place with the star? Alana. What's up, Alana? How are you doing? All right. So here's what we've got. What we've got is a failure to communicate for the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys, I'm actually worried because I think that the whole division started to get better. And it may be better because of subtraction from the Cowboys. I feel like the things that we've been doing are now everybody knows them. Now having Dan Quinn knows the personnel for the Cowboys offensive line. He knows the running back, well, although we're losing our running backs, but he knows the quarterbacks. You know that he is going to know how to fight against them. And in thinking about this, when I was thinking about Al Harris possibly being promoted or Aiden Durden being promoted, it may not be a bad idea to have a totally different defense. Now, the Commanders have a long ways to go. They got rid of two of their best defensive players. They've basically are starting all over. But here's the thing about having the number 2 pick. Okay, here's what I want you to understand. Having the number 2 pick means you got the number 34 pick in the second round. When you think about us having the 26 pick, 26 and 34 really aren't that much different. So you think about how much draft capital they have. This is one of the reasons why, you have teams that turn it around real quickly. The Texans, getting rid of Deshaun Watson and getting lucky by finding CJ Stroud and having all of the draft picks that they've had, they've been able to really build a team. Now, that doesn't always work because you can constantly look at the Chicago Bears being a top 10 drafting team. They drafted Justin Fields. They made the move with the receivers and stuff. They've got 2 number 1s right now, and if Washington wants to move up, they could end up getting another number 1 as well for the following year. But they don't know what to do with it. You could look at Washington, who literally got a whole draft from the New Orleans Saints because they wanted Ricky Williams and not getting a single player that made any difference on their team. It's what you do with these picks. Now, I've had all kinds of thoughts in my head here because, we've got retreads that are coming in. We have retreads coming in, and I think the reason why the Cowboys want to hire somebody with head coaching experience is because they don't know what the hell they're doing. Let me say that again. The Cowboys don't know what they're doing. They don't know how to pick a coach. They don't know how to look at a guy and say, this guy, really interview a guy and say, this guy seems to have it together. This guy is the future. This guy has new innovations. They don't know. And as much as Stephen Jones is the vice president of operations, what experience does he really have as far as winning goes? Only thing is, he's worked for his dad's company. Jerry Jones was fortunate that he ended up getting Jimmy Johnson. You look at everything that's going on here with picking with coaches and everything else, he has not been good. It has not been good. And that's where the success that he's had, I'm not going to say that Jason Garrett was successful. Jason Garrett being, the offensive coordinator and a quarterback's coach before he came to Dallas. I should be the GM. No, I shouldn't there. But here's the thing. The only coaches that he's really been successful, you look at Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells, of course, was a team builder. The place was completely in disarray. He stocked the shelves for Wade Phillips and for Jason Garrett. Mike McCarthy has been, I know people want to kill him and fire him and he's automatically on the hot seat, But with what has been provided to him from a team that was completely in disarray in 2020, he's done a good job, but that's another guy that had coaching experience. And so you look at, they hired Mike Nolan, who had been a head coach. And they hired like Joe Phoeben, who was a not successful head coach for the offensive line from Miami. They're constantly hiring Rod Martinelli, ex-head coach, be it not great ones. They always do that because I don't think they know how to pick a young guy that may be innovative. And so I've also got thinking about something else today, too, because this is one of those things that, think about this for a second. It's fun to go ahead and play with the idea. Logan Motorsports, how are you doing? Logan, I'm curious how you feel about your season opener being in Brazil. You guys will have the first game in South America. You literally have to leave the country for your first game, which might not be bad because, if you stink up the place, Mark is not greedy enough to own the Cowboys. He'll be too kind. Well, you know what? I would love, because you know what I would do, Linda, if I owned it, I would actually reduce the price of tickets and I would definitely have I must say that Arthur Blank, I don't know if they still do this, but they had like these low price seats that were affordable seats. So that way the real rabid fans, the people that couldn't afford it, could actually go to a football game. And see, I would love for that to be the opportunity because there's a lot of diehard Dallas Cowboy fans that give everything. And to put them up in the nosebleed seats where nobody can hear them, you need them rabid, crazy fans down low. But that's just me. So, that's not going to work because that's not about making money. 6 more days till no more VHS jokes. Okay. All right. No, those jokes will still be on us. I feel good. We are a world team, Mark. Okay. All right. Well, I guess that goes along with your 3 world championships. So congratulations on that. Hey, Pops. Okay, Alan Williams. Mark should be the owner of the Cowboys. Well, don't tell Jerry Jones that. He'll put a hit out on me. But here's the thing. I still get so many people that are saying.
It's important to reiterate that he hasn't suggested that he wants to move out. But I think
hit that by accident, didn't I? Okay. Here's the thing that's kind of mystifying to me, and this is a real question. This is a real question because I actually have the perfect example. Because there's still people that say, you know what, Micah Parsons, it's going to be $30 million, okay? And we don't want to pay Micah Parsons because, of course, we pay Micah Parsons. That means all those free agents that we were going to sign, we won't sign. Or, Dak's not going to be the guy, he's had all these years, trade Dak, or people still say CeeDee Lamb, maybe, he's good when he wants to be, and, maybe we should trade all these guys. But I'm going to ask you this real question because we have questions on the guys that pull the triggers, or at least I have questions, because I think about this. We traded Amari Cooper for a 5th round draft pick. That's what we got back, right? We traded Amari Cooper for a 5th round draft pick. Amari Cooper was arguably one of the best route runners in the NFL. I'm not saying that we shouldn't have traded him. There was some problems that were there and so on. I get it. I'm not arguing about the trade, except for what we got for the trade. What we got for the trade. We took him and traded him to the Cleveland Browns and got a 5th round draft pick. Now, comparable, and Eagle fans will probably disagree with me, but if we look at A.J. Brown had 1,400 yards this season. I want to say 8 or 9 TDs or something like that. I may be wrong on that, but I know it was somewhere around there. Had like 109 receptions. He averaged like 13 yards of reception. It was a great season, although it kind of went downhill towards the end of the season. Amari Cooper played in 15 games, had like 73 receptions, had like 1,200 yards, had like 5 TDs. I'm not going to say that there's a big chasm that's there between the two of those guys. They're both really good players. I have to say A.J. Brown is a bit better than Amari Cooper, but when I look at Amari Cooper and think he played 2 games less, and he had 4 different quarterbacks that were throwing to him on an offense that wasn't good. You had Jalen Hurts, who Eagle fans say is the greatest quarterback of all time, with a great offensive line and comparable weapons there. So A.J. Brown was helped out by the team he was with, whereas Amari Cooper didn't really have a quarterback. I mean, he did have Joe Flacco there in the end, but you went to a guy who was raking leaves and pulled off the street. Be that as it may, how you rate those two guys. You got a number 1 here, and the Dallas Cowboys traded the guy and got a 5th. That's the first example. The second example I'll give you is the Cowboys, San Francisco, Prapa, he's in here. There's no love for the Dallas Cowboys. They hate the Dallas Cowboys. They don't want to do shit to help the Dallas Cowboys. And let me give you an example because, you know, when there's a lot of work and stuff out there for a contractor, for a construction guy, okay, like this, like me, and people say, well, we want you to come out and look at the job and everything else. And you know you've got plenty of work to do. Right? You got plenty of work to do. You don't really want to do it because you look at it and they say, man, this job's really, you know, why do I want to deal with this roof that's all jacked up and looks like a saddle up in here? I'm going to have to rip all that shit off of there. You know, I'm going to have to reframe it up and put new sheathing on there. I could sit here and I could just do this job over here and make, you know, good money just hanging some drywall that's easy peasy. I don't want to mess with that stuff. That's San Francisco with the Cowboys. So what you do is, you don't want to just say, I'm not bothered with it. You put a number up there that's so high that they do the saying no to you. You end up saying, yeah, that's a $60,000 job. Because, you know, they're not going to accept $60,000. It's a $10,000 job. We're going to tell them it's $60,000. Right? Right? Because you don't want to do the job. You got too much else to do. And then they turn around and say, when can you start? You put a number that's so high that you're going to make so much money off of it that you got to do it. And that's what happened with the Cowboys with Trey Lance. San Francisco did not want to trade Trey Lance to the Dallas Cowboys. But the Dallas Cowboys, they blew them away. They literally said the Cowboys blew us away with the offer. Everybody else was talking about a 6th-round pick. Cowboys said, oh, you only want a 6? Oh, we'll give you a number 4. So hypothetically, if we were to trade Micah Parsons, do you guys actually think we would get value for that? That they would be strong enough to negotiate a good deal if they were able to trade Dak Prescott? You gave up a 4th for a quarterback who couldn't work with a team that had the best running back in football, a team that had 2 outstanding receivers, a team that had a good offensive line. He couldn't play in that one. And this is a team that gave up 3 number 1s for him and said, you know what, we're going to walk away. We'll just take a 4 for him because this dog just can't hunt. This dog just can't hunt. We'll settle for a 4. Which was way above board. So if you had the Cowboys starting to wheel and deal, because I want you to think about some of these other ones. Do you guys remember Joey Galloway? And this is going back a little bit further, but Joey Galloway was a really good receiver with the Seattle Seahawks. The Cowboys gave up 2 number 1 picks for Joey Galloway. He immediately messed up his knee in training camp and was a complete bust for us. Let me come a little bit sooner, more recent. Do you guys remember Roy Williams? Not Roy Williams, the safety, but Roy Williams with the Detroit Lions that we traded for. We gave up a number 1 and some other picks for him. And we thought, hey, man, now we got Roy Williams to go with T.O., who's a big receiver. He's done great things with the Detroit Lions and stuff. And that mother humper couldn't do jack. So my thing to you guys is this. As much as the Dallas Cowboys ownership wants to tell you to trust the process, we know what we're doing. When Stephen Jones says to the Rams that just won the Super Bowl, we don't think that's the right way to build a team. You have to look at these guys and say, you gave up 2 number ones for Joey Galloway. You gave a major deal to a running back that blew up the salary cap after his 4th year, when everybody, I pointed it out over and over and over and over again. Take a look at the numbers. Generally speaking, after the 4th year, your numbers go down as a running back. That's not to say that there are not exceptions to the rules. Adrian Peterson, Barry Sanders, those guys were the exception to the rule. Frank Gore. But more times than not, running backs are spent by the 4th year. And you decided we're going to back up the Brinks truck for this guy. So for everybody who's screaming for the Cowboys to make these moves, it might not be a bad idea if you have somebody who knows what they're doing to make these moves. I have to, Eastside Herald, I have to give your team credit, because your team made moves to get out of the situation they had with Deshaun Watson. They stopped off the train station and they kicked him off before the train crashed. They got rid of him before his train crashed. And you got compensation and you made good picks. You got a coach in there that's young and knowledgeable and understands how to work with these guys because he's a peer of theirs. They are on the cutting edge. The Dallas Cowboys have constantly been living in the past and living on what they did with Jimmy Johnson, and that's the problem. Angelica Baron, shout out to Angelica. Angelica, we had an incredible time. Oh my God, we had it. And the funny thing, Angelica, was we didn't do any. We went to New York Steakhouse. It was pretty good. We went to a pizza place. We went for, walk on the beach and stuff we did like 2-mile walks and stuff on there, but there was nothing that we did that was anything spectacular. We sat on the couch watching TV together. We like I said, walked around and stuff together. It was just spending the time together, and it was wonderful. In fact, I will say I am now a out of season vacation guy. Sure, the carnival rides aren't open, and you can't really lay out on the beach because it was a little bit chilly. Maybe go a month or 2 later. It was like 55, close to 60 degrees and stuff, right? But not fighting the crowds. Just feeling like we had to. It was the beach was us and the seagulls. That was it. It was a beautiful thing. I absolutely positively loved it, and we had a good time. Oh man, come on now. Peaches. Hey, y'all act like that's the only reason why I went on vacation. Yeah, come on, man. Peaches, peaches are an everyday thing. Peaches are an everyday thing. You got to, wax on, wax off, wax on, rub on. Okay, anyway, to TMI. There's Philadelphia. So that's the problem we have here, guys. That's the problem, is the Cowboys honestly don't know what they're doing. They don't. And as much as we want to, listen to Jerry Jones, am I making a big? Yes, I will be making a big sub for the Super Bowl. I don't know what kind, but we're going to have a Super Bowl party, although it's one of those games that I'll probably throw up. Maybe I'll make an Italian sub because we'll just want to throw it up. Because nobody cares about the San Francisco 49ers, and we're all sick of Pat Mahomes. But the thing is, I'm just sitting here with the Cowboys always being last to get shit done. We've been talking about Dan Quinn. Waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. We literally been held hostage by Dan Quinn. I ain't mad at Dan Quinn finally getting away from the shit show. I wish him the best of luck, except when he plays the Cowboys. But here it is. We sat around and waited and waited. Everybody's got their defensive coordinator except the Dallas Cowboys. And now we got the toaster leavings. I look at Ron Rivera, and Ron Rivera literally reminds me of Get Out. Literally, he just, on the sidelines, he just looked like he was in a trance, no matter what was happening. You know, they have the Eagles by the cojones. They lose, and it's just like, and I'm sitting here thinking, how am I supposed to be excited having seen Ron Rivera on the sidelines for 3 years with the Commanders? We're supposed to, that's supposed to be a big, you know what, when I think about Jerry Jones saying, we're going to make a big splash, you know what I think of? I think of a belly flop. I think of a big fat guy, okay, belly flopping. I don't know how you can even come out your mouth and say, you know, I want to make a big splash with defensive coordinator. You know, we're going to make a big splash here. How? How, Jerry? How are you making a big splash? I'd like to know. I really would like to know. What is it that you're going to do that's going to excite? Because regardless, just get someone who has common sense. That's the problem. You got rich guys that it don't matter. It don't matter what they do. In fact, the more dysfunctional they are, seems like the more money they make. We ain't done shit in forever. We ain't won shit. We ain't done shit in forever. So I'm not crazy about the idea of Ron Rivera. And I'm not going to say that Ron Rivera does not have knowledge in winning. I know that Washington is the bad luck franchise, okay? They are the place that quarterbacks and teams, coaches go to die. If I'm Clab Williams, I know that this is your hometown. I know they got your college coach. I know that the Commanders, they could probably get you without having to give up too much to move up to number one. But you have to look at it and say, that field, for one, has been a career ender for a lot of players. That stadium is a piece of shit. And for whatever reason, they're just a bad luck franchise when it comes to quarterbacks. But if Washington gets him with Dan Quinn, with the draft picks that they have, with the $60 million, they're going to be a better team than they were before. I hate you, Eagles. Eagles, I hate you. I hate you, Eagles. Derek Young, I'm depressed. Listen, no. But see, Derek, there's a method to my madness here. Because what we need to understand is, or not us, I'm trying to send a message to remind Jerry that it's not, everything's not hunky-dory. That you have owned the NFC East, but Washington should be a better team. Now, I don't know about the Giants. I don't know about the Giants. You know, they don't have a quarterback. They overpaid for Danny Dimes, who's not going to be ready to start the season. Giants are going to be ass. But I do worry about the Eagles. And for you Eagle fans, for Philadelphia, for Logan Motorsport, for Twiz Digga, I'm curious how you feel after talking about how great your coaching staff was. I constantly heard from Philly 500 and you Eagles fans that said your coaching staff is so much better than the Dallas Cowboys, that the Cowboys suck ass, that you have better coaching. How do you feel right now, knowing that you got our offensive coordinator that was fired and our quarterback's coach that was fired? The guys that worked with Dak Prescott, whom you guys always said was garbage. Dink and dunk Dak, does that ring a bell? Dak Trashcott, Dak Prescott, who's less than Jalen Hurts. That he sucks, your offense sucks, and all. Now, now you got that guy. So I'm curious how you feel about getting guys for your offense to coach your quarterback who seems to be missing, who has been found out, like I said he was going to be, when they stop him from being able to run. I'm just asking, Philly 500 pounds. I'm not. Have you seen? You had one good year playoffs. One good year. I believe you lost to Tampa Bay twice in the playoffs now. Twice in the first round. So I don't want to hear that. Now, I can understand losing to Tom Brady. You guys basically, Cowboys suck. Oh, they only beat Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's an ass team, but they had Tom Brady. You lost to him. And then you lost to Baker Mayfield. And to compound it, in the quarterback skilled competition, did you happen to watch that, Eagle fans? I'm just curious. I'm asking for a friend, because your quarterback lost to Baker Mayfield in that one too. Oh, mind you, he also lost to.
Can take numbers and skew them any way we want. We often can take numbers and we'll fit them into the narrative that we want to try and paint. And I probably am guilty of this. Can take numbers and skew them any way we want. We often can take numbers.
Dan Orlowski did better than the skills competition than your quarterback. So, Eagle fans, you were saying? Micah Parsons wanting to be traded. Well, if not, that is true. I don't think it is personally. But if it is or is not true, the best thing he can do is play outstanding to get more money. You have to understand here, the bottom line is, if you're thinking that he's going to have a bad season because he wants to be traded, that doesn't help your cause at getting the big bucks. From the street, Jalen Hurts, with all the weapons we have, would take us to the Super Bowl. From the streets, are you talking about the Cowboys? I hate to tell you, bro. I hate to tell you, if you're saying the Cowboys have more talent and weapons than the Eagles, then
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
who has a better offensive line? Eagles. I will say A.J. Brown and C.D. Lamb, probably about equal. I'm going to say that Devontae Smith is better than Brandon Cooks. I mean, because it's literally a drop-off of over 1,000 yards between CD and our next guy. I would say the running backs that the Eagles have, DeAndre Swift and crew, are definitely better than the Cowboys. I will say more experience. I would say Dallas Goedert is more experienced, although I will say Ferg is getting up there, getting closer to where Dallas Goedert was a little bit nicked up. So if you are sitting here thinking that Jalen Hurts is lacking for talent on that team, bro, you don't actually watch football, do you? You don't actually watch football. Super Bowl fumble hurts. Our linebackers are trash. Well, here's the problem is we really don't have a linebackers. I mean, we had Damone Clark, who actually played pretty well, but he's an undersized linebacker. He's not a thumper. See, here's what you want to understand. There's multitudes of types of linebackers, okay? Damone Clark is a good cover, weak side linebacker that plays well at chasing people. but you have to have a thumper. That was what Leighton Vander Esch was, and you would hope that he could be even better. If you remember, some of you guys, some years back, and he was just able to be reinstated this year, Rolando McClain. If Rolando McClain, oh my God. Okay, from the street, Michael Gallup has worse numbers than Noah Brown, bro. Noah Brown. Oh my God. And you have no running game. You have no running game. Because I tell you what, take a look at Dak's numbers versus Jalen Hurts's, bro. Jalen Hurts brings those numbers with the people he has that are similar to the Cowboys. We're losing more games, bro. You're on crack, man. Just put that. I'm not even going to respond to that one anymore because, sorry, bro. There ain't no way in the world that you can look at the Cowboys offense with that offensive line that the Eagles have and the Cowboys offense. You can't look at Tony Pollard and a bunch of guys at running back to Swift and the crew that they have over there, man. Come on, man. Let's be real here. This is why we have idiots out here that say it's just Dak Prescott. Come on, man. And to have a defense that gave up 41 points too, bro. 41. But that's okay. You're entitled to your own opinion the way I'm entitled to mine. See, I told you, here comes Thanos. Laugh out loud. Okay, I tell you what. Let me ask Linda. Because Linda is fair and balanced. She's an Eagle fan. But she is about the most balanced fan that I have ever talked to on here. Linda, would you say that the Cowboys' offensive personnel and the Eagles' personnel are the same? Or, excuse me, as from the street would say, is the weapons that the Cowboys have, Jalen Hurts would have them in the Super Bowl. Do you honestly believe the Cowboys have better weapons than what the Eagles had? I'll wait. Johnny Wilson, I want him so bad. He is a tight end and wide receiver position. The man is bigger than Megatron. The Cowboys have better coaching than he. Well, that's not what Eagle fans used to say. Eagle fans used to be, Cowboys suck. The coaches suck. Brian SoCal. What's up, Brian? I'm pretty bound. No, you're not proper. You're a 49er fan, man. You guys are, you guys are a little shaded there. Too many times we ask our players to do different jobs and spread them thin. David B., shout out to you, buddy. That's where, never listen to Shingle fans, Mark. Joey Shake, 72, you're cool people, but your team stinks. You hit the nail on the head right there, David B. The fact that we end up saying to Tony Pollard, who was a third down scat back outside receiver type. Big spank dog, you're 100% right. To say to Tony Pollard, we want you to do what you did before, where you were getting 5.4 yards a carry. We now want you to do that and be the workhorse that Zeke Elliott was about the biggest miscalculation that the Cowboys could have. It just was. You ruined Tony Pollard. The things that he did good, he couldn't do anymore because he was worn out. He was battered and bruised, and he was not a guy who could run up the middle. You could see that he was literally hesitant to run in the middle. Say what you will about Zeke. Zeke could put his nose down and go in there. He just didn't have the burst anymore because, as we said, running backs go downhill after the fourth year. They just do. Philly, 500 pounds. I would like to know. We talked about Ron Rivera. There's Wink Martindale. Wink kind of got run out of New York. But New York was just dysfunctional all the way around. So I'm not sure that we can count that season with them. Wink Martindale, again, another older guy, has not been a head coach, which I think it'll be a reason why he won't get the job, was defense coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. I want to say 4 seasons, and many, many years being a linebacker coach and things there. So he's had experience. He was defense coordinator for the Giants, didn't work out for them, and they got rid of him. He'll be coming in for an interview. Brian B., all those hits add up on a running back's body. And that's not only a running back, you can say that on a quarterback too, which is what I was saying about Jalen Hurts last year, that you can't run as much and take as many hits as you do and think that your career is going to have longevity. And part of the problem, of course, too, was defensive coordinators figured out what Jalen Hurts did well, and stopping him from running up the middle. You could see Jalen Hurts, if his first read's not there, he's bailing out and ready to run. And that's part of the problem with that offense is Jalen Hurts is gun shy to stay in that pocket when he's got a great offensive line. And now that Kelsey is retired, I don't know that they have the center that's going to be as good as that. We need a true middle linebacker to stop the run. There you go, Roosevelt. I was talking about Rolando McClain, because, see, that guy was a thumper. That's what you need as far as physicality and ability for a middle linebacker, a guy that's about 240 pounds that can come like a ton of bricks. And we didn't have that. Now, the problem with Rolando McClain was he didn't really work that hard at it. He basically rolled out of bed and said, here, I'm a linebacker. I'll practice when I feel like practicing. And that's a guy who, if he had applied himself, would be a Hall of Famer. But we need a guy like that at linebacker. You need a Demario Davis. You need a Patrick Queen type of linebacker to be in there, because you're running, contrary to popular belief, people think, oh, well, it's a defensive lineman. They don't make all the tackles. It's the linebackers. And if your linebackers can't play downhill, people are going to run on you and carry you down the field. They just are. And that's another one of the problems we had, and another miscalculation that the Joneses couldn't realize, that what they had at linebacker wasn't enough. I don't know if it's Will McClay saying we're good at linebacker, or if they're saying here's some linebackers we get, and they're saying, we drafted Jalen Smith, we drafted Leighton Vander Esch and stuff. That's not a sexy pick here. We want to make a splash, and we screwed the pooch. Pete Carroll for defensive coordinator. It's one thing for a younger guy like Dan Quinn, after going to the Super Bowl and the team failing and becoming a defensive coordinator, or a Josh McDaniels failing and going back and being an offensive coordinator for, Belichick. But Pete Carroll, Pete Carroll is not going to go and become a defensive coordinator for the Dallas Cowboys. He is. I wouldn't even disrespect the man by calling him up and asking him. I mean, could you honestly see him coming to Dallas with Mike McCarthy as the head coach, who doesn't have an extension? You might as well say, put him out on the streets homeless and have him beg for some soup. Please, sir, can I have some more? He ain't desperate. Yeah, the same thing with Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick already said, I don't want the head coach's job because it's crazy there in Dallas. So you think that Bill Belichick would want to go ahead and be a defensive coordinator for the Cowboys? Like, that's, and here's the problem. And this is where I think Mike Zimmer actually works better. The problem is you have to think that the Dallas Cowboys defense may be taking a step back. And here's the reason why I say this. We've won the division, which we all know is the kiss of death. We've had 3 Super Bowl winners and 2 teams also that went to the Super Bowl that did not win the division the next year. It's not to say that we can't. But for whatever reasons, it seems to be the curse of the NFC East. Maybe it'll be broken here in year 20. But we've got the first place schedule. First place schedule. We have a lack of draft picks because we traded our 4 for Trey Lance. We traded our 5th, for Gilmore. We might get a 5th back, and we might get an extra 6 with the compensatory picks. But David B., here's the problem of putting Micah at middle linebacker. I don't think he's as good as a linebacker. And now you got a problem with who's rushing the quarterback, because Dorrance Armstrong, as well as Dante Fowler, as well as Neville Gallimore, are all free agents. Oh, stop, Go Pack. You act like Aaron Rodgers won you 5.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
Get off your high and mighty horse there, okay? Your team is just as ass as we are. I tell you what, Jerry Jones, Mike McCarthy can take Cowboys to Super Bowl this instant, because you can build around him, and he's better than Dak right now. But what? I tell you what, Jerry Jones, McCarthy can take the Cowboys to Super Bowl this instant, because you can build around him. And who are you talking about? Philadelphia, I don't know who you're talking about. Gilmore and Cook's trade cost us draft picks. Yeah. And this goes back to what I'm saying about when everybody says, oh, well, let's just trade these guys. You're assuming that when we trade that we'll actually be able to make trades that'll help us. I don't like Ron Rivera. I'm not feeling that one. I think Mike Zimmer would be the better fit, because, and the reason, and I don't know how well it'll work. One, I think he's a guy who can work with the personnel that he has to come up with the defense that'll work. That's what I believe. There's some guys that are stuck on their system and stuff, and so it's going to be like, okay, we got to get rid of all these guys and start all over. I think Mike Zimmer has been around long enough that he can work with what we have, try and get some more players to go with it, and make something that will work. Okay? Oh, J.J. McCarthy. Gotcha, Philadelphia. I thought you meant Jerry Jones and McCarthy could go to the Super Bowl right now. I was like, what? Okay, forget it. Pete Carroll's not coming. You forget Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll, that's like the Cowboys should take, and when people used to say trade basically a bum and get like Pat Mahomes. Let's take Cooper Rush and trade for Pat Mahomes. Like, that's not going to happen. Okay, let's be realistic. Okay. But Mike Zimmer has been with bad situations, with bad head coaches with the Cowboys, and has been able to weather the storm and stay. So Mike Vrabel isn't even getting called up by the Cowboys. So Vrabel was only a defensive coordinator for 1 year, and they were middle of the road as a defense. But I like Mike Zimmer too. Mike Zimmer, if you'll remember, Mike Zimmer took the Minnesota Vikings to the NFC Championship game, not with Kirk Cousins. It was the year before they got Kirk Cousins. I'm trying to remember who it was that they had. Damn. I'm having a brain fart. But he's had very aggressive defenses. He has made their team a lot better than they should have been. It was just that it ended up being year after year after year after year, and at some point they said, we got to make a change because you're not winning the big one. DeMarcus Ware. No, it wasn't DeMarcus Ware. DeMarcus Ware wasn't playing quarterback for Minnesota. I'm thinking on Mike Zimmer or Ron Rivera. Christina Johnson. Welcome, Christina. I don't think they'll do Ron Rivera. Here's what I think as far as Ron Rivera was. I think at first the Cowboys thought, oh, well, Dan Quinn's not getting the job. Especially after they heard Seattle had hired somebody, and they were looking there saying, okay, Washington's going to get the coach from Detroit. Dan Quinn's coming back. Because they didn't have a plan B. I think they originally floated the idea out there just to say, we'll interview Ron Rivera. Because they didn't know who else that was like a name out there. Well, guys, so if Dan Quinn doesn't come back, what are you going to do? Ron Rivera, that's it, Ron Rivera. And so I think they're bringing him in there because that was just a name that they came up with at the time before they really had a chance to start thinking about it. Zimmer's no-nonsense, kick-you-in-the-ass type of coach. Defensive execution should be important. And I would hope that he is going to say, you know what, Jerry, I appreciate all that you're doing here, but you need a damn linebackers. You need linebackers. Zimmer had one of the best results against the Shanahan Trees defenses. At Christina Johnson, my Cowboy sister, that's from Rhonda. Help me, Rhonda. Rhonda doing amazing things with her channel, giving away channel memberships even. Proper the guy is clueless, laugh out loud. Derek, that's why I'm happy cleaning house on defense. I think almost at this point that you may need to. I think that if you're bringing in Mike Zimmer, if you're bringing in anybody with Dan Quinn knowing everything about this defense and being the guy that taught them, that maybe you're better off saying, Mike Zimmer, let's see what we can do. And if we do, in fact, have Jerry Jones willing to actually go all in, then sometime in the next couple of weeks, we need to see Dak Prescott's contract redone. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear people say, yeah, because you just want Dak Prescott to get paid. What I want is, I want the Cowboys to actually take care of that $59 million hit that is not Dak Prescott's fault. It's because the Cowboys mismanaged their money and had to restructure the contract over and over again. Was it Case? I don't think it was Case Keenum. Hold on. Was it Case Keenum? Let's see. Let's get the list of them because now you got me wondering. Let's see. You're right. It was Case Keenum. Damn, and Sam Bradford for 2 games. Yeah, Case Keenum. He took Case Keenum to the NFC Championship game in 2017. They thought that once they got Kirk Cousins, that they were going to be able to do it, but the problem was their defense also got old too. And I tell you one thing about Kirk Cousins, as much as people, want to talk about how bad he is, that guy has gotten receivers paid. Do I like Mike Vrabel? I don't think I'm not going to deal with Mike Vrabel because the Cowboys aren't going to sign Mike Vrabel. They're not going to sign him, so there's no point in going through there whether I like him or not. I don't think he's necessarily a bad coach, but as far as defensive coordinator, he's only been there for 1 year as defensive coordinator, and their defense was middle of the road. So I don't know because there's 2 different jobs. Being a head coach, as Nick Sirianni basically has been cut off at the balls, is really just kind of like the visionary. And he's the guy who kind of oversees and gives you ideas. It's really the defensive coordinator and offensive coordinators that are really doing the work that's actually working with the players. And that I don't know if Mike Vrabel is good at motivating the players. People gave me a hard way to go because I said we're going to look back with losing Dan Quinn. I still think, I know we sucked. We sucked. I'm not going to put it all on Dan Quinn. I'm not going to put it all on Dak Prescott. We sucked everywhere. I don't know what it is about the Dallas Cowboys, if somebody came through the locker room and cut everybody's balls off before the game, but nobody had any passion, any fire. They literally were like deer caught in the headlight, caught like Angelica Barone in 2014. I commented on that post you had, Angelica, where you said it was a great day when you got that 7-point buck. It was a great day for everybody but the buck. Just saying. As a joke, that was a joke. That was a joke. The deer, it wasn't a good day for him. But we just didn't come out. I don't know if the Cowboys figured it's just Green Bay. Oh, we them boys, we at home. We got a 16-game win streak, man. You know, this game is ours. And they got punched in the face and didn't know how to respond. I think it was personal issues. If the front office gave Dan Quinn good linebackers, D tackles, the defense would be much. Sean, you're 100% right. Thank you. He tasted good, though. I bet he did. Beautiful picture, Angelica. No, Mike Vrabel isn't going to get it. No. Twiz, that guy isn't playing with the full deck. Go pack, that is. Yeah, that was a beautiful shot there. Love deer sausage. All right, so I think because the Joneses know Mike Zimmer, and Mike Zimmer is a no-nonsense coach that maybe can get into these guys' face, I kind of would like to have somebody a little on the younger side that can deal with the players more. Jake Ferguson and actually Michael Gallup did, Roosevelt. I will give you both of those guys played really well. I think Stephen Jones doesn't know what he's doing. Sean, shout out to you, Sean. You are 100% right. Stephen Jones definitely doesn't know what he's doing. Definitely was on the players. Well, on the players, and also you have to think about, remember Mike McCarthy said was it the year before or 2 years before? He said that the players were nervous before the game. And I'm sitting there thinking, bro, that's your job to have them ready to play and motivated. I don't think Al Harris is going to get it. I think Al Harris is actually going to go to Washington to be with Dan Quinn. The Cowboys were mentally checked out. A good coach would have recognized that and gave them a needed pep talk. You're 100% right on that one. You know,
I don't know what to say.
Something like this, you mean?
3 minutes to the biggest battle of our professional lives.
Mm-hmm.
All comes down to today. Either we heal
As a team,
or we're going to crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished. We're in hell right now, gentlemen. Believe me.
Mm-hmm.
And
this piece, I know any given Sunday is
we can
not
our way back
real. But I tell you what, it can relate so
out of
well.
hell. 1 inch at a time. Now, I can't do it for you.
Can't do it for
I'm too
you.
old. I look around, I see these young faces, and I think, I mean, I made every wrong choice a middle-aged man can make. I pissed away all my money, believe it or not.
Is that the old man Jones?
off
No.
Anyone
That's Al
who loved
Pacino on any given Sunday.
And lately, I can't even stand the face
Pure hell.
in the mirror.
That's where we are.
You know, when you get old in life, things get taken from you. I mean, that's part of life. But you only learn that when you start losing stuff. You find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere. Around us. Hell yeah. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch.
I wish we had a mentality like this.
And everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. Yeah. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying. I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that inch.
Amen.
And I know if I'm gonna have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that inch.
Amen.
Because that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face. Now I can't make you do it. You gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you. Hell yeah. You're gonna see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team.
That's what she said on Inches.
When it comes down to it, you're gonna do the same for him. Right? That's a team, gentlemen. Hell yeah.
That's it.
And either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals. That's football, guys.
That's football, guys. And that's, that may be the thing. I don't know how to relate to today's players. I haven't played football in 40 years. God, has it been that almost 40 years? Wow, I am old. Jeez. I don't know what motivates the players of today. The thing that I'm still old school. I believe that you do your talking on your play on the field and let the others talk to you. This day and age of, we got a first down, so, I got to do this, or, I got to crawl because I got a sack. That's fine. That's cute and all that, but you can't be that excited when you win, and then when you lose, you go silent, you go dark. Because when we win, we in your face. We them boys. We up in there. We are partying like we just won the Super Bowl. But then we lose and we don't hear shit from you. You go crawling away and hiding. Or when shit goes downhill, we check out. And that's where the coach comes in. I don't know what they do. What Shanahan does with those 49ers, I have to give him credit, because when those guys show up, whether it's on the road or at home, they're ready to take your head off. They are motivated. When they were getting their lunch handed to them by the Lions, they didn't go into a shell and had the body language like they stole your lunch money. Like mama just beat you with a switch. I know all you young kids don't know nothing about a switch, okay? I know you don't know nothing about a switch, but when your mama told you, you go out on that tree and you get a switch so she can whip your ass with it, you didn't come back with no weak-ass switch, because if she had to go out there and get that switch, boy, you really gonna get whipped. Yeah, I know y'all don't know nothing about that, but that's the way we act when shit hits the fan. And that's on the coaching. Not having the players that we need. Running game, offensive line, defensive line, linebackers. That's on Jerry. And not showing up to play, that's on the players. There's plenty to go around. There's plenty of blame to go around. And the thing is, like Al Pacino just said on there, the inches we need are all around us. The things we need, because all of you people that keep saying blow it up, man, trade Dak, get rid of CD, get rid of Micah Parsons. Now you got even more that you have to get. I would rather say, let's get some cash. Let's go out there and get the players we need, the inches we need. Let's get the motivators. Let's find out, hell, get the psychiatrists in here. You know, I remember. I'm running a little over time here, but I'm gonna be factual with you guys, okay? Because this is a true story. This is 100% true. Because when I went to JMU, I tore up my knee, my ACL. I have no ACL on my left knee. People don't believe me, but I tore it in high school. The last scrimmage before the before the high school season started, my senior year. In that game, one of the scouts from UVA, I was an offensive guard, was scouting me because they wanted me to go to the University of Virginia and make me a fullback, because I was running a 4.6 40 at 210 pounds and I was really strong. But in that game, I tore my ACL, and after that, they were like, well, if you get accepted to the University of Virginia, you can walk on and try out for the team. Okay. So I ended up having surgery on my knee a week and a half later. 2.5 weeks after having my ACL cleaned up, what was left of it, I played football. I played the last 6 games. I missed 4 games. 4 games. Believe it or not, having torn my ACL. And focused on track. Did indoor track, outdoor track, through shot put, through the discus, ran the 55 indoors, ran the 100, the 200, and the 400 from time to time. And when I went to JMU, I was running track. And I was trying to become a decathlete because I love sports. I love sports. Problem was at JMU, while trying to learn how to pole vault, I broke 2 pole vaulting poles. I was too heavy and too strong, and I kept muscling the pole, and they snapped. So the coach is like, nah, bro, we don't have it in the budget to keep breaking pole vaulting poles and stuff. So you can sprint, you can long jump, you can shot put, you can discus. And while I was running track, Chalice McMillan, the coach, got fired at JMU, and they hired Joe Persiski from Delaware State. And one of the coaches was Coach Charles Jones, who actually had tried out for the Cowboys, but he got his wrist broken and didn't make the team. He was he was the defensive line coach, but he would watch me running track. He would watch me in the weight room and stuff, and he said, hey, I want you to come out for the football team. I was like, man, bro, I played offensive line in high school. I'm too small to play offensive line. He said, no, I still want you to play nose guard. I was like, okay, that makes sense. He said, no. He said, with your speed and your strength, he said, you can be a guy that can really rush the passer. Okay, you can stunt and move and this, that, and the other. So I walked on at JMU. I walked on. And what it ended up being was scout team. Scout team. And it sucked because what would happen, I remember one of the first practices I learned the hard way, playing nose guard. I'd get hit by the center. I'd get hit by the guard. I'd get hit by the other guard. I'd get hit by the guard and the center. And if that wasn't enough, they would all go past me, then the fullback would hit me. I'm just like a pinball. Just a pinball. The first team offense would come out. They'd practice. They'd go off the field. The second team offense would come out. They'd practice. Boom. Then the first team would come out. We ain't stopping getting water. You are a glorified bag. And I remember we had a guy named Adam Burkett who was about 300 pounds tackle. And I remember it to this day to a point because I remember the guard went right past my ass here. The center crossed my face. The other guard went that way. I looked up for the fullback and I didn't see the fullback. But then I saw Warren Marshall, nicknamed Shades, who was about 6'1" running back that was big. Shades was cool. Shades was a beast. He got drafted, I want to say, by Denver, maybe. And I see him, and I'm thinking in my mind, I'm finally going to get to tackle the running back because there's nobody around. And as I stood up to meet him in the hole, that's when Adam Burkett came down and hit me in the ear hole. I remember the contact right there, and I don't remember anything until I woke up over there, looking up at Coach Jones with his finger in my face and seeing the stars literally spinning around. And he says, never stand up in the hole. Okay? So that was what it was like when I walked on. Okay. I would always say, fuck this. I'm going to try and do something. Excuse my language. The offensive lineman had a thing. It's like, look, if you don't make me look bad, we won't kill you. And I would be like, screw you, man. You ain't getting any better by me taking it easy on you. And I remember a couple times hitting Green. I can't remember his first name, our quarterback. And I remember the offensive line coach going off, what the hell is you letting this little 200-something bitch get the quarterback? And he's yelling at the offensive line. The offensive lineman getting pissed off. You know, they're cheap shotting me. You know, they're double teaming, hitting my knees and everything else. We're fighting in practice and everything else. And I'm sitting here in my mind thinking, screw this. Why am I here as a fucking dummy? Why am I doing this? I was running track, you know, we had the girls with the short shorts and stuff, you know, and the bodies that were like bang, 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 you know, and I'm sitting here literally sweating my ass off. And I remember that practice to this day because it was like, I can't wait to get to the locker room and I'm going to throw my equipment at the equipment manager. I'm done with this shit. Forget this, man. And I remember sitting there because we'd always come together at the end of practice. Coach Brzezicki, his father was a used car salesman. He was Italian, and he had this gravelly kind of voice and stuff and things. And he's talking about how some of you guys are so lazy and taking it easy that in playing football, it's not easy. You have to give 100% and everything. Where did it go? Where is everything? Uh-oh. Are we still live? This is weird. Okay. Hopefully I'm still live here to finish off this story. But Coach Brzezicki is sitting there talking about how people could take a lesson. How people should understand that you need to give it all. And he's like, there's a guy out here who's always constantly giving everything that he's got. And he said, what we're going to do is he's going to be on the traveling squad. He's going to end up being on special teams. He's going to play. He's going to be rewarded and blah, 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 blah. And in my mind, I'm sitting here like, man, I wish this mother humper would hurry up and finish talking. Okay. I'm sick and tired. I want to get in the locker room. I want to take off this crap. I want to turn off this stuff. I want to quit. I want to be out of here. I want to be done. I'm sick of this shit. And then he says, Mark Holmes. Everybody's like, yeah. I'm like, the fuck? What did I miss? And so that was me getting elevated to the traveling squad, and I started playing special teams. I got moved up to special teams. My job, though, I was the hot man on kickoff. This is a position that is completely different because it used to be you had what was known as the wedge. You'd have five big guys. When the ball's kicked, they would get together and they would stay tight together and run up the field. My job is I'm the closest guy into the kicker. My job was to be the wedge buster. My job was to run full speed down the field. When I see the wedge, be a heat-seeking missile and run into it. Run into it and bust the wedge. And the reason I say this was because hearing that speech reminded me of Coach Brzezicki before the game. We were playing the very first game I played in the state of Virginia. The big game in the state was called the Oyster Bowl, played at Old Dominion University. The very first game that I played in college, I am the hot man on the kickoff team. And here it is, Coach Brzezicki, we're in the locker room before the game and everything else. We got 30,000 people that are out there. This is before JMU is JMU that they are now. It's playing in bowl games. Coach Brzezicki is getting everybody fired up. And it's almost like, a Jesse Jackson, I am somebody speech. And he's talking and everything else. He's like, Mark Holmes, you go out there and you destroy somebody. I got so fucking pumped up, I was literally ready to run through a brick wall. And I get out there and I'm so pumped up. I'm just like, I want to destroy something. I am just like ready to go. And it was a coin toss. We won the coin toss. We received. Oh, shit. So now I got to wait till the defense is done stopping them. And we run the ball back. Boom. Touchdown. I'm over here because I've lost my pump. I got some Gatorade. I'm sitting here drinking some Gatorade. And I hear, kickoff team. What? Oh, shit. I've lost my pump. I've literally lost my pump. And I'm grabbing my helmet and I'm running out on the field and I feel like I'm going to throw up. Honestly, I honestly feel like I'm going to throw up. I probably looked how CD looked after he dropped those 2 passes. That's how bad it was. And I remember being out there. I remember seeing that football sitting right there. I remember hearing the band. The band was playing dun 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 dun. Okay, it's pumping up. It's pumping up. And I'm sitting here. I'm looking down the field. It looks like it's a long ways away, but I'm looking down the field. I'm looking at the kicker. Looking down the field. Looking at the kicker. The kicker runs up. Boom! Kicks the football. I start running. I'm running. I see the guys. I see the ball get the guys' hands. I see the guys together. I see them running. And I'm just running and running and running at full speed and everything else. And I close my eyes and I hit the wedge. I hit the wedge. Everything goes dark. And then I feel people grabbing my shoulder pads and patting me on the head and everything else. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? And as I open up my eyes, I have the kick returner underneath of me. I literally hit the wedge, busted in between 2 guys, and basically was shot out like a cannon and caught the running back right there on the 12-yard line. And that was the first tackle that I made. The point that I'm making about this story, and I'm sorry it's taken quite a while to get there, is the job of the coach is to get you excited, to make you alleviate your fears, to make you literally feel like you can run through a brick wall, that this is your home, that you own this game and that team. You have the confidence to win. And that's what I don't see with this Dallas Cowboys team. We're front runners, man. We're the life of the party. Hey, but I think about my wife and the relationship that I have with her. I am so blessed because here's when you know that you really, really have your partner in life. Not when everything's great, not when you got all kinds of money and everything and the parties and you're good looking and healthy and young. When you know that you truly have your partner in crime, in life and everything else, is when the shit hits the fan, that they don't run, they don't hide. And I feel like that's half the problem with the Cowboys. We're great when things are going, that's why we blow people, when we're on, we blow people out the water. We have all kinds of confidence in the world. But when things go bad, if a play or 2 goes wrong, we just shut down. CeeDee Lamb, 2 bad catches. Guy pushes you in the back. You just literally, woe is me, man. Today's not our day. And San Francisco, I hate you guys. But I don't see that from you guys. I don't see you guys quit. I don't see you guys backing down. I don't know who's going to be the one to make these guys motivated. We should have beat Green Bay. I don't know if we had enough talent to beat San Francisco, but we damn sure should have beat Green Bay. And that is on Jerry, Mike, the players. That's on everybody. That is a total team loss. And see, that's where Jimmy Johnson, you saw the fire of Jimmy Johnson at halftime in that game. That's a guy that has passion, drive, and power to motivate people. So I've let you into a little window of Mark Holmes. I was freaking like Rudy. Scout team, that's how I worked my way up. But it goes to show you, it doesn't matter where you come from. If you put in the work and you never give up, you can succeed. So with that being said, I think I'm going to get on out of here. I appreciate everybody being here, listening to me and my stories and everything else. If you can hit the like button, I appreciate it. But I really appreciate that I have all of you wonderful fans and stuff in here. Don't forget to check out Stacy Schubert, and of course her channel. She's doing great work. Help Me. Rhonda's taking care of business on her channel and growing. We got Game Time Brian. He's not here tonight. He's probably been out delivering mail and is probably passed the hell out and stuff. But definitely, whether you like me or not, there are a lot of great YouTubers that need your support, and you definitely just check out the channel. Just watch a video too. Give a thumbs up, a like, and all that. Help them out because we're all in this shit together. All right. And as always, this is what I have for the Eagles.
Disrespected yet? Does this defense have any heart?
No, they suck. I've been telling you all season, Philly.
Shit on you. They've shit on you. Don't you hear me? Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, they shit on you. They've shit on you. They have shit on you. Don't you hear me? Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, they shit on you. Kill them.